It was almost set in a single elevator. When James Wan and Lee Wannell first developed the idea for Saw, their vision was an elevator. The entire film was going to be set inside a single elevator with two characters, one claustrophobic metal box, two strangers, and a camera angle that mimicked surveillance footage. Because they had no money, this was long before Saw became a billion-dollar franchise. At the time, Wan and Wannell were fresh out of film school in Australia, with no Hollywood contacts and no budget. They knew if they wanted to make something, it had to be cheap and minimal, so they leaned into it. But as they fleshed out the story, something changed. They realized that an elevator might be too visually limiting, even for a low-budget debut, so they expanded the setting slightly to a filthy, run-down bathroom. This gave them more space for visual storytelling while maintaining the same tight, low-cost production setup. Filmed in just 18 days. The entire film was shot in just 18 days, less than 3 weeks from start to finish, and the total budget was around $1 million. To put that in perspective, most Hollywood horror films have at least 5 times that amount and double the production time. But James Wan and Lee Wannell weren't working with a studio. They were working with sheer determination, true hustlers. Because the budget was so tight, every minute on set mattered. Actors had to nail their performances quickly. Because they couldn't afford multiple takes, they reused props. They shot multiple angles at once. And when it came time to edit, Wan hit a massive problem. They didn't have enough footage. In Hollywood, that's a disaster. The standard fix would be to go back and reshoot scenes, but Wan didn't have that option. Instead, he and editor Kevin Greutert got creative. They filled the gaps with flash cuts, surveillance-style footage, close-ups, and even still photographs. The fast-paced editing, now seen as Saw's unique style, was actually born out of necessity. Billy the Puppet's DIY origins. Most horror villains rely on heavy makeup, advanced animatronics, or special effects. But Saw's tricycle-riding puppet, Billy, was built with the kind of stuff you'd find in a high school art room. That's because during the making of the first film, director James Wan had almost no budget, so he built Billy himself by hand. The spiral cheeks on Billy the Puppet were hand-drawn onto a clay and papier-mâché face. His lifeless, eerie eyes were made using black-painted ping-pong balls. For the body, James Wan used paper towel tubes to build the frame. The puppet was then dressed in a small black suit and a red bow tie, giving it the appearance of a creepy, homemade doll put together on a tight budget. Every detail of Billy's original design came not from Hollywood's creature shop, but from pure grit and creativity. Wan didn't just want a scary puppet, he wanted a symbol. But by the time Saw 2 rolled around, Billy got an upgrade. The budget was bigger, the franchise had momentum. The team rebuilt him using lightweight foam, animatronics, and remote-controlled features, allowing his head, jaw, and hands to move with precision. He could ride in, turn toward the camera, and speak in sync with Jigsaw's voice. Jigsaw was the corpse all along. The final moment of Saw, when the dead body lying on the bathroom floor suddenly stands up, flipped the entire genre on its head. But here's what makes it even more insane. That corpse was real the whole time. Most productions would use a dummy, but not Saw, because this was a film that couldn't afford expensive models or realistic fakes. So Tobin Bell, who played John Kramer, aka Jigsaw, volunteered to actually play dead. And it wasn't easy. He had to control his breathing, stay perfectly still, while 2 actors delivered intense performances just feet away. And through it all, Bell never twitched. For over 90 minutes, we assumed that corpse was just scenery, background dressing. But then it moves. Jigsaw rises, rips the fake blood off his face, and delivers that iconic "game over" line before slamming the door shut. And it worked because of Bell's commitment. His performance as a corpse was just as vital as his later role as the mastermind. He turned stillness into suspense. In many ways, it defined the franchise. Hidden Blueprint foreshadows Jigsaw's identity. Most fans remember the moment Dr. Gordon and Zepp visit a dying cancer patient in the hospital. That man is John Kramer, and what looks like a brief side character at first turns out to be the mastermind of the entire franchise. But if you pay close attention during that scene, there's a chilling clue right next to John's hospital bed. Detailed, hand-drawn designs of the reverse bear trap, one of Jigsaw's most iconic torture devices. It's not pointed out, but it's there. This Easter egg reveals that John Kramer isn't just a dying patient, he's already designing his traps, possibly long before the other characters even suspect foul play. It's a subtle piece of foreshadowing that most viewers completely miss on the first watch. And that's what makes it brilliant. This tiny moment signals that John is not a passive victim of cancer. He's already plotting, already transforming into the Jigsaw killer. And the fact that it's shown so casually, as if it's nothing, makes it even more disturbing. An overlooked escape in the Razorbox trap. Of all the traps in Saw 2, the Razorbox trap is one of the most memorable and the most painful to watch. Addison is told that the antidote to her poison is inside a glass box. To get it, she must stick her hands in through razor-lined holes. Once inside, pulling her hands out causes the blades to slice deeper. But there actually was a way to escape, and it was right in front of her the whole time. At the top of the box, there's a padlock with the key already in it. It's unlocked. All Addison had to do was open the box from the top, but she never looks up. In her panic, she goes for the obvious and pays the price. She bleeds out slowly, her screams echoing through the room, all while a perfectly safe solution sat just above eye level. It's a brutal reminder of Saw's core philosophy. Every trap has a way out, but that exit usually requires calm, observation, and painful awareness. 3 things most victims lose the moment panic sets in. This design reflects Jigsaw's twisted sense of justice. He doesn't believe he kills people. He believes people kill themselves through ignorance, panic, or arrogance. The empty gun hint. One of the most shocking moments in Saw is the final twist. The corpse lying in the middle of the room rises to reveal he's been alive the entire time. That man is John Kramer. Right at the beginning, we're led to believe this man on the floor died by shooting himself in the head with a revolver. There's a pistol lying near him, blood on his head, and a convincing story built around the visuals. But for viewers with sharp eyes, something doesn't add up. If you look closely at the revolver, all the bullets are still in the cylinder. None of them have been fired. Not one. Even more telling, there are no spent shell casings anywhere on the floor. In real life, when a revolver is fired, the used round stays in the chamber, but it would clearly be distinguishable from live rounds. But in Saw, all the chambers are visibly loaded. So how did he shoot himself? He didn't, because he was never dead. This continuity detail is a brilliant piece of visual foreshadowing. It's subtle, it's silent, and it completely contradicts the narrative the film presents without drawing attention to itself. It's like a riddle hidden in plain sight. By planting this clue so early, the filmmakers reward attentive viewers while keeping casual audiences distracted by the characters' panic and chaos. Amanda never showed symptoms. In Saw 2, the stakes are higher. A new group of victims is trapped in a house and told they've all been injected with a slow-acting nerve agent. They have 2 hours to live unless they find antidotes hidden in the house. As the film unfolds, the tension ramps up: coughing, seizures, internal bleeding. One by one, the victims begin showing terrifying symptoms, all except for Amanda Young. It's easy to miss on first viewing, but Amanda never shows any signs of being poisoned. She doesn't cough, she doesn't sweat, she doesn't panic like the others. In fact, she seems strangely calm, focused, like she knows more than she's letting on. And that's because she does. The twist at the end of Saw 2 reveals that Amanda is actually working with Jigsaw. She's not a victim, she's an accomplice. The game isn't being played on her, she's helping run it. But the clues were always there. Her immunity to the nerve gas is the biggest one. While the others are suffering and losing control, Amanda's composed demeanor should have raised red flags. She even seems to navigate the house more confidently than the rest, as if she knows the layout already. Dr. Gordon's survival hinted by a limp. Dr. Lawrence Gordon's fate in the original Saw was left intentionally ambiguous. After sawing off his own foot to escape the bathroom trap, he crawls away bleeding, desperate, and disappears into the darkness. For years, fans debated what happened to him. Then Saw 3D dropped the bomb. Dr. Gordon survived and had become one of Jigsaw's secret apprentices. The filmmakers had been hinting at this for years. Back to Saw 2. In the opening trap, the infamous Venus flytrap mask, we see a video play on a grainy monitor. A cloaked figure speaks to the victim, delivering Jigsaw's trademark instructions. The face is hidden, the voice distorted. But there's one important detail: the figure is limping. At the time, it seemed like nothing, but in retrospect, it was a massive clue. Jigsaw, John Kramer, had no limp at this stage in the timeline, but Dr. Gordon would. After cutting off his foot in Saw, Gordon would forever walk with a noticeable injury. That limp wasn't a stylistic choice, it was an identity marker. The implication is clear. The person on the screen was Gordon. He was alive. He was helping set up the traps, and he had been part of Jigsaw's network long before the final reveal in Saw 3D. Hoffman's cameo as a corrupt cop. Detective Mark Hoffman is one of the most complex characters in the Saw franchise. Introduced as a tough, no-nonsense cop, he later becomes one of Jigsaw's most dangerous and calculating apprentices. But the twist that he's secretly working with Jigsaw doesn't come until Saw 4, or so we thought. If you go back to Saw 3, the filmmakers had already begun planting the seeds of Hoffman's double life. There's one moment almost invisible, if you're not looking for it, that gives the whole game away. After the brutal death of a victim named Troy in the classroom chain trap, Detective Carey and Officer Rigg arrive at the scene to investigate. In the background, another detective is seen moving through the chaos. That detective is Mark Hoffman. He doesn't say anything. He doesn't take the spotlight. But if you're watching closely, you'll notice something subtle and deeply suspicious. Hoffman pockets a piece of evidence from the crime scene. Now, this moment flies completely under the radar during your first viewing, especially with the gore and intensity of the trap dominating the screen. But when rewatching the film, after Hoffman's true role is revealed in Saw 4 and V, the context shifts dramatically. That small act of pocketing evidence suddenly becomes a huge red flag. It shows he's not just part of the investigation, he's manipulating it from the inside. Spiral had no Jigsaw. When Spiral, from the Book of Saw, hit theaters in 2021, fans were divided. It looked like a Saw movie. It felt like a Saw movie. But something or someone was missing. There was no Jigsaw. For longtime fans, that was a shock. After all, John Kramer is the backbone of the entire franchise. Even after his death in Saw 3, his legacy continued through apprentices, recordings, and copycats. But Spiral made a bold move. It cut ties completely. And it wasn't by accident. Director Darren Lynn Bousman, who previously directed Saw 2, 3, and IV, explained that this was intentional. He didn't want Spiral to be called Saw 9 because it wasn't a continuation, it was a reimagining. This bold idea actually came from an unexpected source, comedian Chris Rock. As strange as it sounds, Rock is a massive Saw fan. He pitched the idea for Spiral to Lionsgate, suggesting a film that would mix intense horror with sharp detective drama and a slight touch of dark humor. According to Rock, he always believed Saw 2 had room for a few jokes, and he wanted to bring fresh energy to the series without disrespecting its legacy. The filmmakers agreed. Instead of recycling Jigsaw's philosophy or bringing John Kramer back from the dead, Spiral introduced a new copycat killer inspired by Jigsaw's methods, but operating with a different goal: exposing police corruption. The voice of Jigsaw was altered in real time. One of the most iconic elements of the Saw franchise is Jigsaw's chilling voice. Slow, cold, and mechanically distorted. When you hear, "I want to play a game," you instantly know who's speaking. But most people don't realize that voice wasn't always added in post-production. In many scenes, particularly in the earlier films, Tobin Bell's voice was altered live on set using a real-time audio processing system. The sound team fed his voice through a device that modulated it instantly, allowing the actors on set to react to the distorted version in real time. This gave scenes an extra layer of authenticity, especially when characters were hearing Jigsaw speak through a recorder or speaker system. It helped make the fear feel real and immediate, not just acted. Instead of imagining how creepy the voice would sound later, the cast could hear it exactly as the audience would. That little detail helped maintain the Saw franchise's gritty, grounded tone and kept the tension high even between takes. The reverse bear trap was almost too dangerous to film. The reverse bear trap is Saw's most iconic device. It's the first trap we ever see in action strapped to Amanda Young's head in Saw. The idea is horrifying. If she doesn't retrieve the key from a dead man's stomach, the device will rip her jaw open. But the actual prop was fully functional and dangerously real. Director James Wan and the effects team built the reverse bear trap with working gears and spring-loaded tension. It could physically open and close, and the mechanism had the potential to cause serious injury if mishandled. Actress Shawnee Smith, who played Amanda, had to wear the heavy device for extended periods during shooting. At times, the weight of the trap caused her severe neck pain, and the sheer pressure of having it on created intense discomfort. In fact, the crew was so concerned about the device snapping open by accident that they had to take extreme safety precautions. Between takes, the trap was locked in a neutral position, and multiple handlers were assigned to monitor it constantly. Ironically, the pain and fear Amanda shows on screen weren't entirely fictional. Shawnee Smith later admitted she didn't have to act much while wearing it. She was really terrified, and that authenticity translated into one of the most memorable moments in horror film history. If you enjoyed this video and want to see every smart decision in the Saw franchise, click the video on screen.